a game up on the screen here.
As we get into it, I did just want to announce that Lockender donated $1, taking us over 4,000. He said,
Wow.
I got Mammoth. So we did it. The big 4K guy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Dude, we're streaming live in 4K right now. I'm so sorry. I'll take my dad jokes somewhere else. Awesome. Thanks everybody who's been donating. We really appreciate it. Obviously, the money that we raise now is going to Doctors Without Borders. So thank you, everybody. And we have Ape Escape here, and I think we're ready to go. So if you'd like to give me a countdown, we can start this party.
Yeah, you bet. Let's go ahead and start then in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so this is Ape Escape. Parso, do you want to give a rundown of the game?
Yeah, I guess the basic sort of start of it is this scientist builds a time machine, and the apes, in some turn of events, get these helmets that make them super smart and take control of the time machine. And so the basic concept is they go back in time to take over the world. So you'll start, and essentially you've got a net and a sword, and you catch monkeys, and that's Ape Escape.
Yep.
So things start off fairly standard. The first 5 levels or so, there's not too much going on. You just sort of go through, and as we said, you use the net to catch the monkeys, and then things start to sort of pick up from there.
Yep. So like Parso said, you start out with 2 gadgets, a stun club and a net, and you'll pick up like 7 or 8 more throughout the game. And every time you get one, you have to go through this training, sort of, that I'm in right now. I picked up the water net, which lets you catch monkeys in the water, but the game has to tutorial you through all of them, so this is training before the actual level.
Mm-hmm. So again, the start of this is just sort of small movement optimizations, little stuff here and there to try and save time. There's some RNG in the second world that we can mention when we get there, but the first world is, again, very straightforward.
Yep. That's one of the interesting things to note about these first couple levels is a lot of the minor optimization is just lag reduction, since this game is really, really laggy. You want to be keeping as little on screen as possible.
So he's going to go for a cool catch here, which if you just jump up and then ground pound, which you do by hitting both of the sticks in, when you ground pound, the hitbox of the net is just really, really big, and so it's just big enough to get that monkey without getting up on the ledge.
Yep.
So one of the cooler looking things that is pretty easy to actually pull off.
So the third level here has the first monkey in the game who's a big jerk. This level has a global cycle for a platform that you want to catch, but you have to catch this monkey behind the waterfall first, and if he eats up too much of your time, then you're gonna miss the platform cycle.
Yeah, so you can see he sort of throws rocks and runs around and is a bit of a nuisance, but that went fine, and so you should catch the
I
cycle.
didn't get it. Oh well.
So yeah, it's not too bad. You can see, you just have to wait at this point for it to come back down.
It's a very minor time loss, not that big a deal.
Yes, yeah, another flashy one there where, again, using the ground pound, you ground pound with the stun club, and then once you've actually hit the egg, you switch to your net, and so it both flips the egg and then you switch to your net and can catch the monkey that's underneath it.
Yep. Okay, so each world in this game is divided into 3 levels. So this is like the dinosaur era, I guess, so that's it. And now we're moving on to, I guess, like a more jungle sort of thing.
So yeah, this is the first major RNG, I guess, is this training room for the monkey radar. So there are 3 monkeys placed in these boxes,
Ooh,
and it's
that's
just
a bomb.
random. So yeah, I guess we'll show off what the bombs do as well. But yeah,
Yeah,
if you
that's
select the bombs, then you have to restart, and so it's just random where the monkeys are placed, and so certain patterns are a lot faster than others. You ideally want to have all of the monkeys on one side so that you can just run along that one side and then go to the exit.
I think Horn said last night there's 8 combinations of monkeys you can get in Monkey Radar, and it just kind of picks one. Some are faster than others.
So yeah, at the start again, all the lag reduction just comes in the form of camera manipulation as mentioned, so you turn the camera at the start there to not face the majority of the level. Because just this game is very much pushed to its limits in what they tried to do with it.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. So yeah, this monkey normally would see you straight away and jump in his UFO, and you just don't have anything to actually get that monkey at this point. But it's very precise but not random in that the way you get out of the water can cause him to just not really see you straight away. And so you can just sort of run up, and if you get lucky enough, like essentially having him not see you at the start is not RNG. But after that, he still has the chance to see you.
Yeah.
And a few other things to note there was a slope jump to get up to this area with the boulders. Which you can get a jump a short time after running up a slope before you go into the sort of sliding animation down it. And so that allows you to get a little bit of extra height. You saw as well there the monkey after that. You can just sort of knock off by doing a double jump and then using the stun club.
I think the developers intended for that to be a slingshot monkey, but you don't need the slingshot to get him. You can just jump up and hit him.
So yeah, pretty good RNG with the rocks there.
Yeah. We're almost out of the boring part.
Yeah. So the start of this level is, again, pretty interesting. This monkey won't see you if you crawl up to him. And it's actually very important to catch him here without him running away. You can see he has, and I guess I can mention this now, the color pants the monkeys wear signifies different traits that the monkeys have. And so you can see he was in dark blue pants there. And that signifies that he's a really fast runner, essentially. And so if you don't catch him there, he will sort of run off and is just a complete nuisance to catch. It's very important that you get that catch early. And so, again, we have yellow monkeys, which are just standard. That's what we've seen so far.
Yellow
light blue
and
monkeys
light blue, I
passive.
think, are both standard, aren't they?
Yeah. I think light blue are considered more passive.
Oh, okay.
So something to note here, normally these jumps wouldn't quite be possible, but with something called neutral double jumping, where you jump once and then you release the stick and jump again, and then like put back the direction you're facing on the stick, it doesn't lose momentum when you actually do that second jump, whereas if you hold the stick the whole time, it sort of resets your momentum and then starts it again. And so doing a neutral double jump like that allows making jumps like that, where otherwise it just wouldn't really be possible. And also, in general, is just faster.
One other thing that you might have seen in that level is this game does have fall damage, and I should have taken fall damage after I pushed the block off and jumped off. But if you swing a gadget while you're falling and you hit the ground, you won't take fall damage.
So yeah, at this point is where this game gets really interesting. There's not too much to say about it. You just sort of have to experience it.
What are you talking about? It's just a slingshot.
Yeah.
How bad could it be?
So yeah, the major oversight in Ape Escape is the slingshot. Essentially, it's completely and utterly broken. I believe a brief description of the way it works is that for some small window of frames, when you pull back the slingshot, it thinks you're on the ground, and so for that small window where it thinks you're on the ground, you have the opportunity to jump again, and then you can chain these into infinite jumps that allow you to just sort of do whatever you want with the game. That makes the run incredibly interesting. Cool catch coming up here where you sort of never mind. You can see the sort of general idea where as you're going down, if you hold the net down, the hitbox just sort of goes through the wall there and you can catch that monkey sitting there. It's not too big a time loss, I think it works out.
Yeah, there's a nice backup right at the end of this level. It's not that bad.
So yeah, if you had gotten that catch that we missed earlier, that's where the level would end, and then you can see coming up here, there's another monkey in there, so you can sort of tell how little time is actually lost from that. And yeah, again, just more out of bounds and stuff going on everywhere because of the slingshot.
And you can already sort of see that the devs were a little careless in where they put platforms out of bounds and where they didn't, so requires a lot of knowledge about where you can actually stand and where you can't.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of just invisible ledges that are seemingly there for no reason, and at the same time there are just bottomless pits where if you fall down you just need to exit the level because you're not doing it.
Yep.
So now we got the second gadget that makes this really cool, and that's the super hoop. So this is essentially what makes everything fast in this game. It has some glitchy tech to it as well, which again just sort of adds to everything, and we can talk about that later as it sort of comes up, but yeah.
Sure. I also skipped one level. Oh, sorry to interrupt you.
No,
but,
you go.
I sort of skipped something. There's supposed to be a race that you do with... his name is Jake on the US version. I'm not actually sure what it is in J, but he challenges you to races at various points in the game, but they're entirely optional. You can just exit and go on to the next level instead.
So what I was going to mention is this level, or mainly this area of this level, is the most notable for the lag that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And that the starting bit with the ocean and everything is just so important to actually manipulate the camera in a way that you don't look at stuff directly, because the game just won't accept it. doesn't like that big area at all.
Oh no. Is Amarek doing Amarek things right now?
It seems fine on my end. At
Okay.
least
Might just be pitch bending or something.
yeah. In which case, it's the best part about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we go through some fairly standard levels at this point. You see there, I guess, an example of the fall damage where you need to be holding the bat
Yeah.
or holding a gadget in a direction when you hit the ground to actually not take the full damage. And so an interesting thing about the lag is that it's actual like FPS and game lag. So it makes doing infinite jumps a lot harder because you need to adjust the timing of when you're doing the inputs for the infinite jumps. And so very laggy areas will sort of be like notorious, I guess, for dropping infinite jumps. Where you don't time it correctly because the game slows down. Yeah, I guess to talk about the tech behind the super hoop, there's a thing called booster jumps where pretty much any time he's jumping out of hooping like this, he's getting a lot more distance than you would from just a normal jump. That's done by cancelling the hoop, so in this case like hitting X and then jumping immediately after. And it conserves the momentum that you had from the hoop into the jump. And so it gets you a lot more distance as well as keeping the jump a lot faster.
Yep.
So we'll be going for an interesting skip here as well. Sort of set ourselves up and then go out of bounds. And there's a loading zone for an area that you want to get to that he'll probably look at once he falls down here. And so you can see the loading zone up there. And this is fairly unique in that a lot of the loading zones in this game are fairly airtight in that you don't really, like they're completely boxed in and you can't get to them from underneath or from the side or anything out of bounds. But that one, for whatever reason, just isn't the case and doesn't have anything underneath it, and so you can hit the loading zone from underneath.
Yeah, that skip is also very scary because there's a bottomless pit right under that loading zone, so if you miss it, then have to re-exit, re-enter.
And so that's this world pretty much done. Moving on to the next now, which I think is the Ice Age.
Ice Age, yep.
So to further continue on the boosted jumps that I mentioned just before, these are also able to be chained into infinite jumps, which again keeps the momentum from the boosted jump into the first few infinite jumps. And so it's just sort of a little thing that helps you get some more distance without needing to take as much height. And so it just feeds into the little optimization type things, as well as some skips, I believe, needing boosted to infinites to actually like have the correct spacing and stuff along those lines. To actually make the skips.
So next we're going to be picking up the Skyflyer, which is the item that you're supposed to use to get height and distance, but
Yeah, like just completely obsoleted by like how much more powerful the slingshot is at getting you high and getting you further. As you can see here, the start of this level is a pretty good tell, or like a pretty good show of how powerful boosted jumps are, where this jump to that ledge over there just shouldn't really be a thing, but because you can boost a jump and then do a neutral double jump as well to keep that momentum again, you can get a lot of distance out of just normal jumps, which is really helpful in clearing gaps that just shouldn't be able to be cleared.
Yeah, this level also has two different routes to it. Some people will catch extra monkeys in this area at the end here, but it's kind of laggy, so if you aren't very practiced with this area, it's easy to lose time in it. So a lot of people will just default to catching the first two monkeys instead, even though it's slightly slower.
Yeah, it's a few seconds here or there. Like catching the first two monkeys that we caught in the very first room is a few seconds slower, so it's not a huge deal. But, yeah, definitely something worth noting. So I think when I mentioned lag causing the dropping of infinite jumps, this level is probably the worst when it comes to that. The start of this level is very laggy, and you've got a long infinite jump chain up to that first monkey.
Yeah. So this level is intended to be like the Skyflyer level. There's a lot of vertical platforming, but we'll just kind of skip all of that.
Yes, we can mention some more monkey colors now. So these are black monkeys, which are, I think, just classified as super aggressive. They normally have guns and shades on because they're cool or something. I think in the next level coming up we'll have a green monkey, where they have a high alert, or like they're very easy to alert, like they'll see you from a long distance away and you can't really sneak up onto them, and they often have rocket launchers on their back and stuff like that.
Yeah, they also have goggles on their face, so they're easy to spot as well.
I don't know if we see, I'm sure we probably do, but red pants monkeys, they're essentially like boxers or something. They sort of fall under a similar category to the black pants ones, where they're just super aggressive and will like, sort of destroy you if they get the chance.
Yeah, I don't think there were any in the any percent route.
Right, yeah.
I'd have to
And
think
then,
about it, but I don't think there are.
A final one we'll see in the next level as well are white pants monkeys, which are sort of the next level of green pants, in that they just you enter the room that they're in and they'll see you immediately. So the start of this level has a very cool catch where you can just jump into the middle of those monkeys and spin your head in a circle and you'll catch all three.
Yeah.
It's a very impressive strat, but deceptively easy to pull off. Cool.
Yeah, if you can boost
Pretty
jump,
much.
you can do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I don't even think you need to be able to boost jump. I'm pretty sure you can just hoop into the center of them.
Yeah.
So this level's notorious for being scary. A lot of-
Definitely as when you're starting out, the boost jumps, while they're not difficult, they are somewhat precise in their timing. And so this level where you're just doing boost jumps, not boost jumps, infinite jumps, fairly precise. And because you're just doing infinite jumps over voids everywhere and trying to chain them properly, and if you screw up, you're just going to fall into a void. As
Yep.
a new runner, it's a very scary level. So here are the white monkeys mentioned, and you can see you sort of walk into the room and they all see you and start running around. So there's the gong in the middle, which they try and run up and hit, and then they'll sort of run into the little hatches in the side, I guess you can call them. And so that wasn't too bad. There's you can get a triple catch, I believe, like right at the start, where like the first two sort of run towards the gong straight away. So if you're fast enough and you get a good enough boost and jump, you can get lucky and catch the first two immediately.
You can also manipulate them back to the gong a little bit by just walking away from it, but it's still an obnoxious room nonetheless.
Yeah, most definitely. There's also a small skip that was found where I think it works by catching the monkey like as they enter one of the hatches on the side. Where someone accidentally did that, and it skips the cutscene that you might have seen where it sort of opens up the gate and everything and allows you to actually get up to the next floor and go to the next room. But I'm not even sure if that's something anyone actually goes for. It's just sort of a thing that is known about now.
Yeah, well, you need the right luck. You need the monkeys to be going for it at the right time and all that, so. So this is the first boss level. At the previous levels before this, the only goal was catch a certain amount of monkeys. The goal in this level is just find Spectre, who's like the bad guy. And this is the only level in the game where you actually don't have to catch a single monkey in order to beat it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's essentially just skip through to get to the boss, which again we do with out of bounds, but for whatever reason there's no roof right here, and then the roof starts again. It's super long into this place, and then this is a somewhat scary place in that it's like right before that loading zone that we hit there. There's just one of the bottomless voids that we mentioned.
Yeah.
So, in going for that loading zone, you can, if you miss it, you will probably just end up in a bottomless pit and have to re-enter the level. But yeah, so we skip to that place and activate what opens the door to the boss there, and then we can just go back out and enter the boss from this point onwards. But it's sort of like this whole level is intended to be like you catch some monkeys, you go through these puzzles, and it's a very long-winded level, but just because of it being rather broken.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning, you don't even need infinite jumps to do that. You can do that with a normal double jump Skyflyer. Just get out of bounds right there.
So this boss, we damage abuse essentially to beat it, in that it only has 4 health if you use 2 explosives and 2 stun cold hits, and because we have 5 health, to stop him from sort of running around in that electric form for a while and chasing you. If you take damage, he just goes into a phase where you can actually hit him, and so you can damage abuse and finish that fight a lot quicker.
Yep. So we're back to the present now. Made it through all the past stuff. This is where the game starts to really pick up in difficulty, I think. Like, these last 4 levels, they're really hard.
So again, the final training room for the any percent run is just the RC car. It's fairly straightforward. Just put the RC car on some buttons and that's about it. So we won't see the RC car much actually used. A little bit here and there, but not really even as intended. It's sort of used in other ways. For stuff like this, where like this sort of enclosure is intended to you use the RC car to scare the monkey out, but the way he walks, he'll just walk up to the edge there and you can catch him from outside.
Yeah.
This monkey can be a little annoying, but I'm fine.
That first monkey will always walk up to the edge eventually, but he can do a bunch of other stuff in the meantime, so...
Yeah, he has sneezing and sort of standing around looking around animations, and he can just sort of decide to do them at will. I think No Name, or I Have No Name, is pretty notorious for having bad luck. I think the worst he's gotten there is like 17 extra animations before he got to the spot that he can actually catch him. So yeah, this level is very hard because of the purple Pikachu looking things, in that, especially in these pipes, if they hit you, they can just sort of continue hitting you. So they'll hit you up onto the pipes and you go into the sliding animation and then they'll hit you again. And they can very literally take you from like full health to absolutely nothing completely on their own, and you just have no control over it.
Yeah, your iframes are very minimal in this game, especially whenever you get hit with a sliding animation. You might as well not have any.
So again, this is another monkey that's meant to get in a UFO. You just catch him before he sees you. And then this monkey up here gets into a big mech sort of thing. That we stun him with an explosive and catch him before he gets in it. Which is sort of the theme with a lot of the vehicles or tank sort of things that the monkeys can get into. It's very slow and you often need like explosives or like a tank or something to actually do damage to the vehicles they can get in, and so it just like works out way better to catch them before they actually get in to the vehicles.
So here's the first use of the RC car for its intended use.
Which, yeah, it's not completely required here as well, but it makes this monkey a lot more consistent, as well as you want the RC car to be in your gadgets at the start of the next level because of use it has there. And so while it's slightly slower in this level, or optimally it's slightly slower in this level to take the RC car out there, because you want to have it in the next level anyway, it sort of just works out nicely to do the menu in here and make that catch a lot more consistent.
Yeah, you can hit him with the slingshot and make him run out, but it's very, very inconsistent if he decides to actually leave the cage or not.
Yeah, you can just sort of run backwards and forwards and not cooperate.
Whoops. It's okay. Been doing too much practice on
very
this
cool.
trick, I forgot the route.
Yeah, a very cool skit here. Or not a skit, but a trick here where you put the RC car down, and so like there's a lot going on there, so I'll just sort of break it down. There's a monkey just sort of hanging off the rails there, and the way it works is when the monkey gets damaged and like falls off of the rail, he is essentially placed upward, like some small amount of pixels, I guess you could say. And so, because he's placed upward for, I believe it's one frame he's placed upward for before he just falls down to the bottom. The way the RC car works is that actually happening is somewhat delayed until the explosion finishes. And so what you can do is pull the net out after you've exploded the RC car, and then because you ground pound with the net, again, like we mentioned before, the hitbox for the net is really large when you're ground pounding. And so it's that big hitbox of the net is sort of sitting there waiting for the frame where the monkey moves up that small amount. And so when the monkey finally does, then your net's just sitting there and you catch it straight away. It saves quite a lot of time because otherwise you would need to go right down into that area and there's another monkey you would catch. And so it's very cool. That skip used to be done with the stun club, and the way it was done with the stun club is the damage was much more instant, so you needed to actually switch to the net immediately after
Yeah.
the frame that you hit on the monkey with the stun club. And so being able to do it with the RC car is just much more lenient and is a really nice one.
Yeah, it used to be actually frame perfect, and now you have quite a few more to do it with.
Can I jump in with some donation updates?
Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
go for it.
Okay. I just want to remind everybody that we've already met our goal, so donations from now on are going to Doctors Without Borders. And coming up in a little bit, we'll have the Oracle of Ages speedrun. And there's a bid war going on right now for which companion to use. Dimitri the Dodongo has $50, and Ricky the Kangaroo has $85.20. So that one is heating up, I guess. There's still a lot of interest in that bid war, so get your donations in for that. And then we also have the file name for Oracle of Ages. And currently the leader is Ed with $110. Mr. Nug is in second place with $84. And then way behind are Penny with $5 and Arby's with $5.02. So get your money in for those two.
So this fight is broken up into two phases. The first we're seeing here, he has different colored attacks, so we've seen both of them twice, and that's average RNG. The attacks he does are completely, again, decided upon by RNG. So you want reds because reds are quite a bit faster than when he shoots out the blue UFOs. And then the second phase here, he sort of swoops down, fires some rockets, and then flies out. And so you just hit him with an explosive, and then there'll be a cool strat coming up for the last hit. Because of how it works, where he flies all the way out to the outside, at the end of the fight, the big ship needs to fly into the middle of the arena before it ends. So the last hit, you want to be as close to the middle as you can get, which isn't, I'm sure it's possible with the slingshot, but it would be fairly precise. But because of how close it actually is to death, and that the Skyflyer has a fairly large hitbox and actually does damage for some reason, you can just sort of skyfly it into the ship, and it's very close to the middle, and then the fight just sort of ends.
That strat used to be done with the stun club, where you'd have to actually like aim the stun club and hit the green spot on the ship with it, which was significantly harder. Now you just kind of activate the Skyflyer at the right time and it works. Yeah, it seems like the hitbox for it and the damage it does is just active for the entire time you're using it, so as long as you're using it while the ship comes into contact with you, it'll take the damage and then finish the fight. So this is actually the last level, but it's really long. The first part of it, you're rescuing your companions, the Professor, Natalie, and then your friend Jake. They're hidden in one of these areas each, so we're doing Circus first to get the Professor, to fight this clown.
So yeah, this level's been pretty thoroughly explored in trying to find a skip for having to rescue all the companions. And there's been some small stuff found, but there's just like, for whatever reason, this was one of the levels that they just made like completely airtight, where there are so many sections of the game that are completely broken.
Yeah. Okay, so the first part of the haunted house here is a roller coaster, which is actually an auto-scroller. The only control I have here is be able to jump. I just gotta dodge all the explodey things on the track. Skipping this would be the biggest time save that we could come up with, but unfortunately, like Parsa said, the level's pretty airtight. So
in 90%, in 90% the roller coaster is pretty straightforward, where you just need to get through it. There are other categories though where like I feel the roller coaster would be very stressful because you actually need to sort of know where some collectibles are on the roller coaster and actually get them during it.
Like the coin I just picked up there's 2 of those on the roller coaster, and like if you're doing 100%, say, you need both of them. So if you miss one, you get to do the whole thing over again. Okay.
So there was a very nice room there, where those 3 monkeys sort of jump down straight away, and you can catch the first 2 fairly consistently. But the third one can sort of do what he wants sometimes, and so it was actually lucky he didn't attack there.
Yeah.
Because often if you like run, like, if he jumps down immediately, he'll just run straight into a coffin, and you'll need to wait for him to come back out.
Yeah. He always comes out of the same coffin, so you don't have to guess, but the amount of time he takes to come out can be a long time sometimes. And so here's a cool boss.
Also to note as well, we exit the level there because it just ends up being faster than actually exiting from the arena.
Right. Okay. I was really hoping I didn't get the crash because I don't have a save game prepared. There's a very rare crash you can get there. I think I've gotten it like twice in a year and a half, where the game just completely locks up on that loading screen.
Yeah, there's not really much of an explanation to it either. It just, like, there's not a lot going on, there's not, it just sort of gives up for some reason at that point.
Alright, so once we're up here, have to alert the monkeys just by letting this guy see you. And that will activate the UFOs that sort of serve as the lock on the door to Spectre.
And after the roller coaster, finding a skip for these UFOs would be one of the bigger time saves in this sort of level.
Yeah.
But the door is just not like anything that we can really work with. It's completely sealed up from like the back, the top, behind, everything to get into the loading zone. You pretty much need to kill the UFOs. Rich isn't too bad right here. You can get the last shot. Yeah, no. Oh, that's the first time I missed.
Yeah.
So yeah, this UFO right now, I don't know if it completely like deloaded, but there's a thing that can happen with that UFO where the hitbox and the visual of the UFO just sort of desyncs, and it doesn't really know what to do, and it goes crazy and it's hard to hit and can just lose a ridiculous amount of time.
Yep.
But that wasn't too bad. So those UFOs are sort of the last hurdle as far as skill-based things come into this run. This final boss is pretty much entirely decided upon by RNG. There's this first phase where you sort of hoop in and hit it with the Sun Club, which isn't hard in any way. But yeah, once this phase is over, the final time of the run is completely decided by RNG.
Yep. So here's the final boss. First thing you want to do is look away from him because he's laggy.
So he has a few kinds of attacks. I believe there's 4. We've seen 2 so far, and you just want 1 out of the 4 kinds of attacks, where you should see it pretty soon, where hopefully
Maybe.
anyway, where his arm will, like, he'll shoot a laser and his arm will stay pink for a little while, and that's where you can actually hit him. So this is where, like, it's just a random chance for which attacks he chooses to do,
Yeah.
and it can go on for as long as he wants it to, really.
Yep. The only rule that governs this fight is that he can't do the same attack twice in a row unless he's missing the arm needed to do both. Then he can do whatever.
Yeah, it was a slow start, but it's been pretty good RNG since.
Yeah.
But yeah, this fight is just known to be awful. Mostly to specific people. I think the worst scene is like a 53 cycle Spectre or something. To give some sort of scale, the best possible is the 5 cycles. So.
Yep. So once his arms are off, there's about 45 seconds left. So timing is coming up. It's going to end on the final hit on Spectre.
So yeah, there's 3 more hits. He just does laser attacks, and then his button in the center of his body opens up. So the first he just shoots down 1 platform a piece, and then you can attack him in the second. He'll shoot down 2 platforms, and then the final hit is coming up soon.
Yep. And time.
GG.
Yeah, it was okay.
Nice run. I got a time of 50-20.
Okay, not bad.
Not bad. Cool, I guess to wrap up, that was Ape Escape.
Yep.
Very nice run by Orsa.
Thanks.
Congrats to him, and congrats to everyone supporting this event. It's been good.
I think
Yeah, thank you
MMX
guys
is
for
next.
participating.
Is that right?
What did you say?
Is MMX next?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, nice. That should be fun. So
Yeah, we're
stick around
starting
for
the
that.
Mega Man block here, so. We have quite a few Mega Man games scattered throughout the schedule, but this is the biggest concentration of them, so. That will be next. But yeah, thank you so much for running Ape Escape for us, getting a little PlayStation love in there.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, we will go ahead and set up for Mega Man X then, so have a good rest of the weekend, guys.
Okay, you too. Thanks.
Cool.
Thank you. Okay, we'll be setting up for MMX next, so stick around everybody. Wait just a minute here while I set up.